Innovative divide project, transparent team, awesome community.
Hello, crypto. How's everybody doing out there? I hope you're doing well. Crazy, crazy times. As we always say, never a dull day in crypto, but what the hell is going on out there? We've seen Bitcoin fear and greed drop below 10, and people, the bears are out in full force. So I don't know how you're feeling. I hope you're feeling okay. I hope you're still holding the line, fighting, learning, battling, and here for the long haul. Interesting show tonight. We've got Penny Boy Crypto back on again. Awesome member of the Titan X ecosystem. He has, he popped up on the Titan X second anniversary stream. Did an awesome hour looking at some macro conditions. We've got him coming back on again tonight. He's our first guest tonight, and then we'll have second half of the show tonight. We will be looking at what's happening with X28. Big part of the big part of what the Blaze team have been focusing on is with the Diamonds protocol, helping Blaze, but also trying to bring X28 back to parity. And we're going to dig into a few things, few stats and things from what has been happening within the first week here of the Diamonds protocol launching, what's happened to the X28 price, where it's looking, and how exactly this, whatever is happening with it, is happening. So yeah, plenty of info and alpha coming at you tonight. What have we got here? Penny Boy Crypto, how's it going, man?
What's up, Ali? How we doing today?
Yeah, all good, all good. How have you been the last few weeks since the stream? Since the anniversary stream?
I've been doing good, man. Just hunkering down, doing a lot of research, looking at a lot of data, and staying positive, staying bullish, and I think it's really important with times like this to not let the emotions of the ebbs and flows of the market control your situation in life, So I think there's a lot of really, really, really good things to look forward to. And just being in this space and being in this environment and being in this community, there's a lot of bullish things that are still happening to this day.
Yeah, you've put out some very, very good posts on X this last week. I've noticed you kind of maybe helping, saying some things that'll help maybe rein in some of people's emotions if they are getting affected by what is happening in the market. You give us a very, you did give us some very bullish sentiment in the anniversary stream, going through your charts and reasons why that you're still bullish on crypto and Titan X especially. But has anything changed for you in the last 2 weeks?
I wouldn't say anything has changed. I think my thesis still stands on where I currently am at, and what it really comes down to is, do you believe that the crypto market is in a 4-year cycle because of crypto or not? And so that's where you draw the line. And there's a lot of people that this may be a controversial topic, or it might grind their gears because they're like, there's no way, it's always 4 years. What are you talking about? The whole this time is different thing is always fails everybody. But what we have to realize is crypto is not on a 4-year cycle. Crypto is a highly volatile risk asset class that follows delicately to the flow of liquidity. So liquidity and the business cycle has been on a 4-year boom and bust expansion and tightening cycle since 2008. And prior to that too, there's been 4-year business cycles for a long time. But cryptocurrency, we have such little data. Okay. I mean, it's the first bull market for Bitcoin, I believe, was in 2013. That's nothing when it comes to asset classes. Having 12 years of data is nothing. So you can't say that something always is what it is with only 12 years of data, because when you look at the flow of what actually drives risk markets, it is liquidity. And we have been in a tightening period since 2022 with a federal bank or the Federal Reserve and their monetary policies. And that has what has constricted our markets. And it also has, in my opinion, expanded us from a 4-year cycle going into something a lot different than that, because we're actually going into an expansion cycle based off of what the Fed is doing going into 2026.
Okay, all right, I'm going to start picking your brains on a few things that you said there already. But first, I want to get our other two guests up, Utah and Rich. Utah, how's it going, brother?
Going well, man. Good to see you streaming. What's up, Penny? Good to have you on, man.
What's good, man? How you doing?
Doing well, doing well. It's Don't look at crypto Twitter, huh? Oh my God, everybody's losing their minds over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, look, if you believe that it's over and you've waited 4 to 5 years and you've put all your eggs in this basket and you think it's about to crumble, that sucks, And so the sentiment is what the sentiment is. But in my opinion, this is just another large correction and a market reset going into a period of expansion.
Rich, how's it going?
Hello, it's going incredible because I'm disconnected from all the daily shit. Working in the real world, so I don't even know what's happening in Twitter.
Good. Nothing good out there. Utah, were you going to say something? Were you going to say something back on what Penny was saying there? I cut you off and was bringing Rich up.
No, you're good, man. You're good. But yeah, I tend to agree with the data that Penny presents. I mean, and if you look at it, I always look at it kind of like us against them, right? When I say them, I mean like the big money, the big players that are all in crypto now. And I look at it like, what easier play is there than to shake everybody out on the 4-year cycle trick? Because everybody's banking on it. Up until probably, I don't know, the last 6 months, I was banking on it, right? So it's always been that way. So what an easy play for them to spook everybody and shake everybody out. And yeah, I think it was real easy play for them, and it appears to be working.
So Penny, can I ask you then, why was everybody so hell bent before in the last 3 cycles that it was happening with the Bitcoin happening? The first time when I got into crypto, I fully believed that as well. And the first time that I heard that the 4-year cycle had nothing to do with crypto, I was aghast. I couldn't believe it. I thought, what is this guy talking about? Obviously I have a lot to learn as well and had a lot to learn, but the first person I heard say that a few years back, I thought they were freaking insane. How have so many people been sucked into believing this?
Because at first it was the narrative of Bitcoin, right? Is you have a deflationary asset that gets harder and harder and harder to accumulate the supply. So supply and demand obviously creates value. And so I think that narrative is what started with Bitcoin. And it just so happens that it matched up perfectly with the liquidity cycles. And so it was like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? It's like, well, every 4 years, the supply gets harder to create. And so the first 2 cycles, well, look, boom, 4 years, it worked. And so it's the whole thing of like, if it's not broke, don't fix it. No one had a reason to think anything else, because that's how this asset class started, was with that belief entrenched and ingrained in Bitcoin, right? And then obviously with Bitcoin being the largest cryptocurrency, a lot of the liquidity inside of the crypto markets is attached to Bitcoin. So when Bitcoin goes, everything else goes. When Bitcoin falls, everything else falls because of bonded liquidity, And so, and look, we live in an echo chamber in crypto. Crypto Twitter is an echo chamber. It just is what it is. And you have these massive accounts that have huge followings that anybody that gets into crypto, they think that they know what the hell they're talking about because they have massive followings. And look, markets are Markets are all emotions, buy, sell, buy, sell. It's all charts is emotions, right? And so when you have large accounts that are spreading a certain narrative, well, that's affecting a large amount of people in this space to emotionally react similar in the markets, So that's how I feel that up until this point, this hasn't necessarily been questioned yet.
Yeah, I certainly wasn't questioned before. Like we were going back a couple of years ago, we were just holding it. We thought, it was going to just go like clockwork. In fairness, it's funny actually looking back. Even in the mastermind, a lot of Jake's analysis and stuff was on basically timing analysis, timing the distances between the Bitcoin tops, and like you say, that narrative worked. It was nearly him and Richard Hart both kind of called some dates based on just these times and how many days the last top was to the next top, and it was kind of insane just how closely they fell. But so for you, what led you to start looking a little bit deeper and not listening to the echo chamber on crypto Twitter?
Because a lot of the accounts that I originally followed ended up being wrong all the time, and so it put me in a position to like, all right, obviously based on results, no one actually knows what they're talking about. Everyone is somewhat guessing, right? And so I wanted to be able to find actual data that shows why this asset class moves, like what is backing any of this. And then it led me down the rabbit hole to find certain people that weren't even really studying crypto. They were studying macroeconomics. And then they got into crypto because of macroeconomics. And one of those people is Raoul Pal. Raoul Pal is everything that he's talked about have lined up pretty spot on. He has something called the Everything Code, and it's about the debasement of currency, which is central banks. They have to continue to print money to pay off their debt, essentially, and every 4 years, the U.S. government has to refinance their debt, and when they refinance that debt, it creates available liquidity that then pushes into the markets to stimulate the economy. And so he has this thing called the Everything Code that he bases his whole macro thesis about, and it's been pretty spot on. So,
are you a member in Real Vision then? Are you, or do you just listen to some of his stuff?
No, I just catch all his podcasts and stuff, and then there's someone else named Jordy Nesser or Nesson, forgot his last name, but he's someone else that I follow when it comes to all the macro stuff. And look, it's very contrarian point of views when it comes to all this stuff, but I like to seek that out because usually the contrarians are onto something because the masses are usually wrong, and that's just how it is,
Yeah, and so people at the minute, the sentiment out there at the minute is extremely, extremely bad. Bitcoin tapped 89K or something like that I've seen today. And there's a lot of people, there is a lot of people out there. And, maybe it's a lot of these big accounts just posting stuff for engagement. They don't actually, like you say, you don't actually know what they're talking about. There are a lot of people latching on to this narrative that the bull market's already over. Bitcoin's already topped and we're going into a bear market. Is there anything that, do you think that is an easy thing to believe at this stage?
Of course, absolutely. Because we're easily influenced by people that we trust, right? And so when we come into crypto, and we're being exposed to certain accounts and KOLs, and they're telling us things that we start to believe, and we believe in cryptocurrency. We believe in this environment and in this space. We get emotionally attached to the people that are delivering this information to us, and so all of a sudden, if these people that we are emotionally attached, and our whole thesis of why we invest in what we invest is kind of in these people's hands, when they start to shift a narrative, it's easy for us to psychologically agree with what these people are saying. And look, I'm not saying that I'm right either. All I'm saying is I'm tracking the data, and the data is just saying something a little bit differently. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I definitely can understand why people feel this. It sucks when you're in the middle of it, but the reality is Bitcoin goes through plenty of 20 to 30% dips throughout a bull and an expansion cycle. It's just when you're in the middle of it, it's horrific, because altcoins are bleeding way more. You think it's over. You think that you just wasted 4 to 5 years of your life, and you're never going to achieve your financial dreams and goals. So of course sentiment is horrible. And then you add in the 4-year cycle aspect. A lot of people think it's over. You know what I mean? And so I could definitely see and understand why people feel the way that they feel. But in my opinion, I think this is just another market reset, and it's just a dip.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily let my emotions make my like filter into the decisions I make to invest, but I do feel the emotions of the market. Like I've openly said that. Days when it's down, sometimes I'm like, oh my fucking god, what have I done? There's a few times in this journey I've been like, fucking hell. And it was kind of getting to that point a few days ago when I had Pulse Chain absolutely tanking. You thought thought Pulse couldn't go any lower. All of a sudden, PulseX is down to like $13 a million. It's like, holy shit, these prices. And then you say about latching on to, obviously, many of us latched on to a lot of what Richard Hart talked about in the day. And now I find myself going, fucking hell, I can't believe I listened to this motherfucker.
Right.
So, it's interesting to hear you say some of these things, because I'm sure, like me, a lot of other people have felt these things, experienced all these things. But another strong thought that I was having to myself today was that, it wouldn't, and necessarily, it wouldn't even matter if it was over. It's not like we're going to turn around now and give up. With all the time people have spent learning and the experiences that they've been through, the learnings that we've had through all this last, whatever you're in, 3, 4, 5 years. It's not like I'm going to experience all that, learn all that, and decide, okay, even if it was a bear market, I'm done, I'm out, I'm gone. I'm put all that time, effort in to learn and experience and get better at this game, rather than fucking give up and leave. But I'm of the opinion of you. I've been listening to Raoul Pal stuff for a while, and I agree. I think a lot of the things he says make a lot of sense to me. And one of the narratives that I've kind of latched onto as well is that the liquidity cycle, the 4-year cycle, is not this is a 5-year cycle. But is that me having a big dose of hopium, or what's the data? What's the actual data telling us? Do you want to dig deeper into maybe something you can share with us that kind of helps us get behind that the 4-year cycle, nothing to do with crypto, and it's just potentially there's going to be a 5-year cycle here, and the liquidity is coming?
Yeah, for sure. So let's break it all down, right? So back in 2020 to 2021, because of the global crisis that happened, we printed more money than we've ever printed in the history of our whole entire country, and that created a massive amount of inflation. And so in 2022, the Fed raised rates to a extremely high level, and they started quantitative tightening, which it restricts the liquidity in the market. And they have not stopped QT until now. So they're stopping it December 1st. And so a great gauge to gauge the environment that we've been in with liquidity is the ISM chart. And whenever you pull up that chart, we can look. We've been in a bear market for the business cycle for 36 months.
Okay,
36 months.
Can I ask before we move on as well? I mean, okay, so we're talking about a bear market and quantitative tightening. How come Bitcoin has still hit an all-time high? How come gold has gone to an all-time high? How come some stocks have been doing extremely well, and the only thing that is not really performing is Ethereum and the rest of the crypto market?
Yeah, so I think with Bitcoin, first of all, I think the ETF with Bitcoin has attracted a lot of institutional and government liquidity, and so even though our environment within our economy, which is retail and all the businesses on the ISM and the business cycle, there's still liquidity in the market. And so with Bitcoin, its whole narrative has been it's a deflationary asset. There's only a 21 million that exist. And so it has attracted a lot of institutional money that are trying to outpace inflation and the debasement of currency. And so it has essentially been like a safe net for fiat dollars to go into Bitcoin, right? And so that's been the whole narrative around it, and it's attracted a lot of institutional capital, and it was made very easy for that to happen because of the ETFs. And then you have about halfway through the ETF cycle, then a lot of these home offices and financial advisors got the green light to advise the boomer generation to put a percentage of their 401ks and their retirement funds into Bitcoin. This didn't happen for altcoins. This didn't happen for riskier plays inside of crypto. It happened for Bitcoin. So even though our environments for retail and the environment within our economy has been really, really, really bad, Bitcoin's narrative with being a way to outpace inflation and the debasement of currency has still existed. But what we've noticed is Bitcoin has not gotten parabolic at all. It's just it gets these pops up and then it consolidates for like 6 months. Pops up, consolidates for 6-7 months. And so even on the chart, you can see it's not like 2017 or 2021. When it got going, it ran for these parabolic runs that had a ton of momentum behind it, and it didn't stop until it cracked and then obviously capitulated. We haven't seen that yet. And so in my opinion, you're seeing the asset mature because it's attracting a lot of institutional money, but yet you also see it hasn't gone parabolic yet because retail hasn't gotten behind it. And you can even tell by the sentiment data. So there's a chart that tracks like the sentiment of the peaks and the valleys, and you'll see in 2017 when it went parabolic, the sentiment data went right with it, and then it came back down. And then 2021 when it went parabolic, the sentiment data went all the way up with it and came back down. And on our cycle, it's just stair-stepped like this, and sentiment's just literally still being in a bear market.
Yeah, I did see somebody share a chart like that. Share a chart like that today. It was showing this sentiment bubble, this sentiment line kind of going up. And it's almost like it kind of just completely fell off a cliff lately. Bitcoin started to tear off, and the sentiment on kind of crypto is still completely, it's nearly still going down rather than back up. It is like, it's funny you say, I know for a fact that nobody, talk about retail and, there's nobody that I know that isn't hardcore crypto at this minute in time gives one rat's ass about anything happening in crypto. They don't even care that Bitcoin has been up on an all-time high. They don't care about anything to do with that at all. And I would say a lot of that is down to, many people have got burnt in the past, and it's going to take something that's really starting to hit something that they can't ignore any longer before we do start seeing them come back in. Okay, so you want me to pull up the ISM chart and have a look at that?
Yeah.
Rich, Utah, anything you guys want to add or ask Penny before we take a look at this? Do you either agree or disagree with what he's been saying so far?
Oh, totally. I'm soaking it up, just absorbing. absorbing everything. Yeah, I'm just learning.
Yeah, I
You know,
agree.
I traded stock options for many years before crypto, so I actually had quite a understanding of things, but I didn't know how they tied together.
Okay, I'm gonna pull this chart up here. Give me 1 second. Sorry.
All right.
All
Boom.
right.
All right. So this, in my opinion, so there's a million charts out there, and there's a million different narratives and different ways to look at all this. But in my opinion, this is the most important chart. So the ISM is essentially what gauges what we call the business cycle. The business cycle, and what this chart's data means, it's the manufacturing data for companies inside of the United States. And so the higher the chart is going, the more volume in manufacturing, which is it showcases the more goods that are being bought and sold within our economy. So it showcases more people have money, they have more confidence in the economy, they have more confidence in them continuously having money. You know, they're not hoarding their dollars, they're spending their dollars on goods, right? And so that's what the ISM is. And so when we look at this chart right here, and
Sorry,
we see
what does IASM stand for?
it's industrial something manufacturing. So the ISM is it's like a company that produces this chart. And so what the data actually is, it's called the PMI. But the ISM is the company that produces this chart.
Okay.
So when we look at the bottom, so obviously we can see the years, right? 2011, 2012, 2013, go all the way across. And then up top, we have the Bitcoin chart. So what we can notice is the peaks in Bitcoin right there, 2013. And then you have the peak in the ISM right next to it. Okay, so they correlate with each other. So the ISM peaked out, which is the highest numbers that recorded on the ISM data, peaked out pretty close with Bitcoin within a couple months. And then obviously when Bitcoin goes down into a bear market, we can obviously see that the ISM goes down into a bear market. Okay. And what a lot of this is it's Fed policy that's tightening the policy. So they're usually when the ISM runs hot, it's because a lot of liquidity was coming into the system, which means inflation is happening. And so when that happens, that's when they swap the policy. And so they're probably raising rates. They're doing quantitative tightening because that's what they did in 2017. As soon as it peaked out in 2017, they started doing QT, which pulled us down into another bear market. And we can see that right there on the ISM as well. And then when we see where it bottoms out in 2020, that is when the whole world stopped. That is when COVID happened. And then we could see that it goes on a V-shaped recovery, and it's the same in the Bitcoin chart. And so when we look at the ISM on the bottom right there in 2020, when it just crashes down, look straight up on the Bitcoin chart. It does the same thing. That's literally the exact same thing happens to Bitcoin. And then it does a V-shaped recovery because what did the Fed start doing? They started doing quantitative easing, and they dropped rates to zero. So quantitative easing is when they start selling off their balance sheet, which means they're printing money. Liquidity is coming into the system when they're doing QE. Also, when you drop rates to zero, that creates cheap capital. That's when banks can can lend a bunch of money because the rates are so cheap. That's when people like you and me can go get loans and throw it in the market. That's when people can refinance their mortgages to pull out liquidity from their mortgages, put it in the market. It just cheap capital exists in these environments, and that's what produces bull runs in risk markets and risk assets. And then obviously we see and a very interesting thing on this one on 2021. So when we see the ISM top right there, look how it correlates with Bitcoin's top. So that was the first top in last cycle. But the interesting thing that happened around this time, that's when about 90% of altcoins actually peaked. They peaked there and before that. So I did this thing like a couple months ago where I literally went down like 300 projects of last cycle, and I studied the time frame on when they went parabolic, and about 90% of them was from January to May in this cycle. They all went parabolic from around January to May. And what we see is that is when the ISM was expanding the most. And so that showcases in that environment, that's when risk assets, especially in crypto, flourish because there's so much liquidity. The macro thesis of investing is that you're risk on, right? So when you're in this environment, you have zeroed out rates, which means money market funds, where a lot of institutions park their capital because they're getting a yield off of the Fed funds rate. So whatever the Fed funds rate, whether it's 3, 4, or 5%, in money market funds, people can park their capital in these funds and they're getting a yield on it. But when yields are at zero, where do you think that liquidity is going to go? It's going to go into the markets, right? And so that's another reason. Still to this day, with our rates still being so high, there's still trillions of dollars parked in money market funds that aren't in the markets yet. Okay, and then so when we see time keeps ticking on Bitcoin, we do get another top. We did make another all-time high, but most altcoins had already peaked, right? And so it shows that when the business cycle peaks, that's usually when the riskiest assets in our space are peaking as well. And then obviously we see a massive downturn, and that's because the Fed started freaking hiking rates up to a very, very, very high percentage, and they started QT. And down there from 2022 all the way up to this day, if you look at where this ISM chart, and then you look at all the way to the left on all the other past data, it's completely different. We're literally have been in a bear market for the business cycle for over 36 months. And it's nothing like anything that we've ever seen in any past cycle. And so that is why we've been in the type of environment that we've been in for altcoins, is because liquidity has been so low in all asset classes, and it affects us the most. But the bullish thing that's going on is things are starting to crack right now. The Fed obviously has cut last two meetings. In my opinion, they have to keep cutting because they have a dual mandate. So one of their mandate is inflation. They want to keep inflation around 2%. Don't think it's going to happen because they have to keep printing money, but that's their mandate. But their second mandate is they have to sustain the job market. Okay. So when the job market starts to implode, that's when we go into a recession, and that they don't want that to happen. And so the last Fed meeting, Jerome Powell came out and pretty much said that they are prioritizing the weakness in the job market. And so what that tells us is that they are most likely going to continue to cut rates going into 2026 because they have to weaken they have to strengthen the job market, which means they have to weaken their policy. And so with them stopping quantitative tightening in December, what that does is it's allowing liquidity to now flow back into the system, because QT is what restricts liquidity, which is why this chart has been the way that it has, because liquidity has just been strangled for the last 36 months because they're trying to keep inflation low. But what this shows us is that we are now going to be entering into an expansion period for liquidity, just like all the other tops on the chart as expanding, and that's because of monetary policy expanded liquidity. And so that is what we are most likely entering into. Now, doesn't mean that this is going to happen overnight. We still could see more downside in this market, especially with the massive fear that's happening right now, because you have a lot of people that are capitulating, that think it's over. So obviously that's putting a lot of fear in the market, but you can't fight the trend. And what I mean by that is you can't fight the trend of liquidity. And so if liquidity is now going to be expanding, the sentiment in the market, it's not going to matter. And so that's how I see with what we're entering into.
Yeah, just seeing this big crash in the business cycle down here, and just looking at how long this ran up, it's fucking insane. This is great. When only looking at this, okay, so I've been in business for a long time, and my business did go through a massive expansion in this time period, here to here. This was also where I got into crypto right at the top. It would be nice if this starts pumping here and we have a year of up only before the actual parabolic run starts. It'd be fucking lovely if it played out something like that, because right at this minute in time, people do think that it's even if we do get some sort of altcoin run, it could be over as quick as it starts. But this is like kind of saying something a good bit different.
Yeah, exactly. We're an expansion period. Like it could go anywhere from 9 to 12 to 18 months. We don't know. We have no idea. But what we do know is that Jerome Powell is gone in May. We do know that all of the tax cuts that really affect retail are coming in effect in 2026 from the Big Beautiful Bill. We do know as well that Trump has talked about doing $2,000 checks for everybody. That's what happened back in 2020, 2021. Everyone had a bunch of checks. I know me personally, I took all those checks, threw them in crypto. So there's probably if markets are doing better around that time and people are saying, oh, that's an opportunity, I can grow this money, it's probably going to be a very similar situation. And so all of these things are showcasing a way, 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 way better environment going into 2026. And look, anything can happen. And so but the data says what the data says, and I think that we're entering into a period. And look, and even and you said something about the stock market, right? So the interesting thing about the stock market, and when you look at the S&P, has been held up by the Mag 7. The Mag 7 has really, really held up the S&P. But if you go down the risk curve on like a lot of the other stocks have been horrible. I mean, look at the Russell 2000. The Russell 2000 is essentially the altcoin market of the stock market, of all like the small cap companies. It's been really bad. And so it showcases the same thing that we're seeing in the altcoin market. It's weakness in everything below the big dogs in the stock market, and then the AI movement, and the AI movement, I believe, has more room to run. AI is not slowing down; it's speeding up, and it's increasing revenue for a lot of these companies. And that's also why the job numbers are so bad, but the stock market is still high. Is because a lot of these companies they're increasing their revenue right now, and they're laying people off because AI agents and large language models are increasing productivity in their companies, and they don't need to hire any more people. And so it puts the Fed in a position to where people are losing their jobs, but yet stock market is at an all-time high. And so we've never really been in a situation where the Fed has to keep cutting rates, but going into a period of expansion. And I think it could potentially be very, very, very explosive.
You thought you were going to say something there, were you?
Yeah, so if you look at that ISM chart and you look at the end of 2024 in early 2025, when we had that bit of an alt run, Titan X was doing some running during that time,
Right.
you know, and you just look at that little spike,
Hmm.
okay? And that was fun, but look at that spike compared to the other spikes.
Yeah, it's
So
still
it
nothing.
yeah, so it kind of puts things in perspective what happens when this really runs, right? That was just a little tiny appetizer. That was nothing
Yes.
compared to
Exactly.
what we're probably in store
Let's get
for.
let's get double double of this. Woo!
Let's
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
go.
Exactly. So and it just even in our ecosystem in itself. I mean, look what happened last week. I mean, we had a one drop in the bucket of buy and burn, and obviously it created a ton of FOMO to probably a lot of people that were sitting on the sidelines, and we shot up like crazy. Think when we're actually in a real environment to sustain this type of behavior in this ecosystem. I mean, I think Titan X and everything that built on it is going to do exceptionally well.
Yeah, this whole ecosystem, especially now, it's been so brutal and so many people have been shaken out and the liquidity is so thin across all these protocols and there's so much firepower there. And this is all without even counting whatever Jake's got building on top of X28,
What do you think it
omni-chain.
is?
Um, I think it might be something similar to what Richard Hart is building. If I was to make a guess, something to that effect. He says it's not a token. He says it's not a protocol, and he says people can build businesses around it. So it's either some type of AI platform, I think, or you know, uh, something close to what Richard Hart is building. But he said it before. It's gonna all benefit X28, and that X28 is the key. I don't understand why people can't grasp it. I can't understand why more builders won't build on it. I can't understand why some founders say don't touch it, it's broken. Like I can't understand any of that. I guess
Yeah.
it's just because of the price. But we're on our way to fixing that because X28 is the key. You bring X28 up over parity, that's 50% burn every time somebody transforms. That's bigger than any buy and burn that we have. In if you drive massive demand for X28, constant demand on it, man, it just eats the tight neck supply.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, again, this is something I was thinking about today. We've been here for quite some time already. Over 2 years we've been working in this ecosystem. I've been in Pulse Chain more, and following Richard Hart since I got into crypto over 4 years ago, and just thinking today that I'm really glad I've made some of the choices that I have in the last sort of 6 months to double down in Titan X. I always felt that I couldn't really have much of an impact on Pulse Chain. I'm seeing the likes of seeing how easy it is for Richard Hart to fuck around with everything over there, fuck around with the sentiment. I'm happy and I'm going to hold my bags over there because I believe the same as us. Whenever this market does kick off, they're going to have a serious fun fucking run in Pulse Chain. But when I look at all the stuff that we've built here in Titan X, I'm really glad that I've made the choice to stay here and knuckle down because I think we've got a fucking phenomenal ecosystem and nothing's got any love out there in crypto at the minute. Nothing does. And we've got a strong community, strong builders, and a lot of bullish factors that are in this ecosystem at the minute. And like you say, even looking at there's the firepower behind a lot of these protocols that are here at the minute. We've got that little taste of what one buy and burn can do. We've got a long way to go whenever the market starts to shift in our favor. And anybody, not financial advice, but anybody, struggling with the market now, if you're of the opinion to sell, you've had enough, there's a bear market going, don't lose touch of what's going on here as well. Maybe you need a break, but, I'm glad that I've made the decisions to stick down, double down, knuckle down, and continue in this ecosystem to help to do what I can to help it when we start to get the sentiment that we deserve stroke need.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think what's being built here is it's infrastructure, right? And so it's so much bigger than just like a DeFi protocol that you can make some money in. It's literally it's like an island that you can come on and exist digitally on the blockchain with everything that's being built in the Titan X ecosystem. And like regardless of like the environment that we may be in, like even just like with you guys with what you're building right now and all the other builders, like the fact that all the builders are still building, I mean, for the most part, obviously some have popped off and done their own thing, but things are still being built and infrastructure is being built because we're about to enter into a season within this space that, like with the market structure bill about to pass, like, yo, that's massive. Like we're going to have legitimate legislation for cryptocurrency and DeFi. And there's going to be some chosen chains that's going to exist on with a lot of these big time financial institutions. And obviously Ethereum is one of them, especially for stable coins and DeFi. And so I think with just what's being built right here with the infrastructure that's being built, as soon as liquidity comes, I mean, dude, the flywheels on some of these protocols and what you can do within this ecosystem is very, 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 very powerful.
Yeah, I mean, I hope people have seen the posts go out. You know, we had Dragon X, Titan X, ORX, Taurus, 4 protocols, all in the top. I think it was in the top, I want to say top 30 on Ethereum. And if we're doing that now with the quality of builders and community that we have at the minute, when you look down through what all the things that's going on, there's so much DeFi built on Ethereum. And the fact is, you know, whenever we're able to put off stuff like that in this ecosystem, and it's only going to get better, in my opinion, it's probably at this minute in time the standout ecosystem built on Ethereum. But nobody knows what's happening and what we've got here.
Yeah, I mean, they'll come as soon as we're in a better environment, and when that happens, everything's here.
Yeah, 100%. All right, Penny. Look, we're gonna move on and start digging into some Blaze and diamond stuff. So look, is there anything else you want to add before we move on?
Well, I mean, just I would, you know, if you can afford to continue to accumulate, not financial advice, but I wouldn't be selling right now, you know. And so that's my own personal opinion. I know a lot of people are exhausted, not just financially, but with time as well. But I would suggest to zoom out and look at the bigger picture on what's actually going on and just position yourself. In my personal opinion, I would rather be positioned at the bottom and be able to ride the influx of liquidity that's coming in than being outside of the market and risk some of the biggest moves that happen when low liquidity, in a low liquidity ecosystem starts moving, because that gets really explosive very fast.
Bring it on, baby. Bring it on.
Hell yeah.
All right, Rich, you want to say the Penny Boy there before we move on?
No, just thanks for popping on, man. Always appreciate hearing your perspectives and showing the data and everything. And yeah, we appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, guys. You guys are awesome.
Yes, absolutely. Anytime you're available to come on, that would be cool. Just to give us an update, that'd be nice. So, what's your thoughts on diamonds, Blaze, X28, Parity? How do you see all that happening so far?
I think they're powerful. Projects. I think the scarcity element of diamonds is really interesting, especially with how it works out with Blaze. So I've been involved in Blaze since day one, you know, And I'm still involved in Blaze, and so
Yeah.
I haven't gone anywhere. You know what I mean?
I've had
So,
a passion for Blaze myself. That's actually how this came about. Is I saw the payouts dwindling down to, you know, barely anything, and I said, we got to do something here. This is an opportunity here. And with the supply of blades coming out that was so thin each day, I said, you know, if you're doing nothing with that supply, it does build over time, and so it becomes an issue. But once you can deal with that supply, and that's all you have each day, then you got the best setup, and that's what we were thinking here. And then pairing with X28 seemed like a natural too, because we would like to burn tight necks without giving up anything from the protocols, you know, funds coming in. So once we get X28 to parity, every new miner will run through X28 Mentor, and then we're burning 50% of tight necks. So
yes.
regardless of when Jake would ever decide to use V1, we could be one of the sources of organic burning of tight necks, which is, there's not a lot of protocols right now burning tight necks. There are some, but there's just, it's not happening a lot. So we just want to join the fight.
Yeah. Hey, so what's the situation with that sell wall? Is it just somebody that has single sided liquidity
Yeah,
at a certain point? Like what
yeah,
does it
you know,
take to break through that?
yeah. So actually, I've just got some data on that, and I can share that maybe a little bit later. But first off, apparently some people had acquired some at a cheap point. Maybe it was 0.6 or 0.7 or whatever rate. And so they have some that they want to offload, which is all cool. Because as we're buying through it, we're buying at a discount. So they're not hurting us in any kind of way. The only thing is, it's just delaying the fact that we would be burning tight necks. And until we get through that, and we have enough funds in the protocol already to get through that wall. So I'm not concerned in the slightest that we won't get there. In fact, maybe by the end of the week, new miners would be burning tight necks. So I'm very excited to see that. That's a core vision of this project. Yeah. So here's another key point that I really like so much about what I've seen this week is that we've burned 56% of the supply. We didn't spend a single dollar from the protocol to do that. Users decided to forfeit, and they forfeit whatever they didn't earn. So you have a 100-day minimum for your miner. And then today, 7 days, they forfeited 93% to go into the auction. And when they go in the auction, the diamonds that they put up, they forfeit those too. So that's 100% of their position, the supply. But they don't care because they got Ethereum and they was able to get out and they didn't lose money. So it works for everybody. So we haven't seen we've seen a slowdown in mining, but it's not over yet. This is just people trying to figure out what's going on. And I hadn't even started mining yet. And I have several people in my circle that wants to support, and they're going to be mining. So we're going to see future mining waves. And what we saw in this first week, we've removed 200,000 Blaze off the market. There was only 800,000 Blaze circulating. So if we do that 3 more times, we're now dealing with only the daily inflation of Blaze. And it's our hope that at that point, Ethereum's people will start competing for Blaze. It will cost more. And as that cost increases, it's costing more to empty out the auctions on Blaze every day. That makes the payouts bigger. And if you're a Blaze holder or a Diamond Hand holder, you're going to see the Diamond Hand Club pools start to increase as we create the demand for Blaze. So this is a multifaceted vision playing out here, and we just need a little time to get maturity under this project.
Hey, when's the first auction?
On what?
On diamonds for that Ethereum.
It ended this morning at 8 p.m. Central Time.
Oh, it did. Okay.
So it was a 7-day. There was $8,500 worth of Ethereum in there that got split out amongst the auctioneers. As far as I know, it worked out for everyone. I mean, people were forfeiting tokens and coming in, and that's how we burned 56% of the supply. I think
so Sorry, no. I was going to say that's what I really like with the protocol, because I think it's really, really, really important with especially things built in this ecosystem to have utility for the tokens. because we've seen so many charts that just crater because there's, people either profit when they mine or not, and then they're
Yes.
obviously going to sell out of it, and so having utility with your tokens in these protocols is crucial. And I think that's really dope with diamonds because there's many different things that you can do with your tokens, whether the price is up or down. And I really like that.
Yeah, appreciate that. Absolutely. So many times you just have a mining situation, and then you could either stake it or just hopefully there's liquidity there to sell into. So with this project, we have staking involved. So there'll be payouts every 88 days, every 288 days. So, and there'll be Blaze and ETH accumulating there, 12% from day one from all the miners. And then 20% of the ETH that comes in with every miner goes into the weekly auction. It's not daily. And so there's two utility cases there. The NFTs that are in the project are completely disconnected. Basically, as Diamonds is taken in the Blaze, it's staking that on the Blaze protocol, and it will soon become the top Blaze staker of tokens. But it's excluded from the Diamond Hand Club, so it's kind of, it's helping out, but it's not diluting that the Diamond Hand Club pool on Blaze. So, but if you're a Diamond certificate holder and you reach 28 tickets, well, you gain eligibility now to the Blaze Diamond Hand Club. So if you buy them in multiples of 28, you get each 28 set gets you one ticket entry in Blaze. And what we've learned as we develop this project is on day 889, the pool resets, and you would need to restake Blaze tokens to get in that next cycle. Well, you staked for 2,888 days your tokens. You need to go find some Blaze. But
Right.
with diamonds being in existence, there'll be no Blaze tokens to be shared at that kind of clip, 4,000 per ticket, right? So the only way you'll get re-entered is if you have these diamond certificates. They will reset too, but you can re-enter as long as you still have them. So there's all kinds of theory going on here.
Right. Yeah, that's sick.
And we've got all this Ethereum that we was moving through the process. We would rather be sitting in Titan-X or X28 instead of Ethereum. Because if Ethereum does a double, everybody's going to be ecstatic if it goes to 7,000. Well, Titan-X is going to do a 10X probably, maybe in that meantime. And especially with Dragon X having $1.2 million to spend, they're going to be pumping Titan-X. So why would I want to be sitting in Ethereum, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And we paired with X28 at the bottom. These are the bottoms. So we set that initial liquidity right at the bottom. And yeah, we're buying X28 at the bottom also. And so it doesn't hurt us to have our buy and burn in X28 because we know it's going to pump. And when it does, we're going to have all that firepower. So yeah, we're pretty stoked with X28. It was a little bit of a battle at first, to get to pull Rich along with the X28.
I wasn't always a believer. It took some convincing.
It's hard, man, because you see it and it's supposed to be 1-to-1. It lost its peg, and everybody's saying it's broken and all these things. But if you look at the big picture, X28, man, it's the way to go. It is the chosen one.
What percentage is X28 away from parity with Titan-X?
We're less than 8% away from it right now. It's 0.9. Well, you could pull it up and see, but not currently looking at it.
Yeah, 0.92.
I don't know where we were a month ago when we started talking about this, but yeah, look at that. November 4th. Look at the diamond effect.
The diamond effect, when did we, October, we started the dump Yeah, I mean, it's been trundling along pretty damn nicely, pulling that up. Psht. And yeah, I mean, it's been very, very low in the past, hasn't it?
Oh, you know
This
what? You
is
need to go to ratio. Go to ratio and not
yeah,
price.
yeah. That's the dollar price. We will take
I
next
got
price.
I got too excited at first.
Oh wow, there you go.
Yeah, I mean, like not that long ago, it was down, a half.
And that's eating through all that liquidity, all that single sided positions that somebody put up. If it wasn't for those, man, we would already be there.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not sad about that because that lets us buy all that we're buying at a discount.
Yeah, that's big.
Yeah, we're not running the price up against ourselves because we're eating through that liquidity, so we're still getting a good deal on it.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Looking good, lads. Looking good.
Mhm.
And look, base is in my opinion going to be base is going to be huge. If you look at what just happened, I think J.P. Morgan just partnered with Abu Dhabi or Alibabi or I don't know one of those huge companies on issuing their stablecoin on base. And so base, I think, is going to be the entry from retail and a lot of these institutions into crypto. And so having X28 on base is a big deal, especially because you can go on the Coinbase app and anything that's on base, you can buy it on Coinbase. So I'm not sure if you could do that with X28, but the fact that that could potentially happen is a huge entryway into the ecosystem.
Utah's and he is in the beta version of the base app that lets that's going to open up to all retail, and you can buy Inferno X on there. I think it would need to thicken up the liquidity a little bit, but you can already buy Inferno X through that beta version of that base app direct in the app itself.
Yeah, it's big.
No, actually. So what I'm on is, yeah, I am on the beta version, and that's where the socials are and everything else where people can earn. But on the main Coinbase app right now, as we speak, you can go there right now and you can pull up smoke, pull up all those different tokens, and you can buy them straight from the app. Now,
On the base app right now?
no, on Coinbase. So
On Coinbase.
if you go there right now,
Let's check it out.
they're already listed. Yeah. So
There is
the only
one caveat. Yeah, go ahead, Utah. You're probably about to say it.
the only thing is you can only buy it if it has an Ethereum pair. And so there's not enough liquidity over there for retail to be able to really make those purchases. But we can add liquidity, and it's just not time, right? We know it's just not time. Retail's nowhere to be found. If you look at the statistics, like Coinbase app is like 250 on the list. Yep, exactly. It's all there. And so we we believed in X28 in the very beginning. And so people are like, "Oh yeah, how's Inferno X doing and all this other shit?" Well, whatever. It's just not time yet. When retail comes, we're going to be ready. We're already there. It's already positioned. And for Inferno X, we literally copied the X28 code, but we added adjustable buy and burn to it, so that if we need to maintain our peg, we can change it to a higher ratio. So it's there, it's positioned. They think Inferno's dead, whatever. I'm buying it up, and it's going to have a massive buy and burn also when people transform. The Inferno supply is going to go bye-bye. So, but if retail's not here, it's just not time. It is what it is. And my focus is on diamonds and blaze right now, and I am completely thrilled with how these two protocols are supporting each other and X28. And it's just like me and Rich, I'm telling you, we've had so many hours involved in the tokenomics for diamonds. I mean, it's this months and months and months, and to see it actually working together and operating the way it's supposed to, man, it's a thing of beauty.
It is fulfilling for sure to see it working as you had thought it would play out. I will say this real quick: you can buy X28 on base because it has a wrap teeth pair. That's a good thing.
You
can
sure
buy
can.
X28 from base.
You sure can. It'd be nice if we could get some kind of routing going to where you could buy the pairs and have them just paired with the X28 and not have to add Ethereum. So we're gonna have to get with Jake when he comes back and see if there's a way that we can get that done so that everything, you know, can be bought that's paired with the X28. But yes, X28 itself can be bought directly from the Coinbase app. So people are sleeping, and I agree with you, man. Base is the place. That's where retail is going to come. They're going to pull their phone out of their pocket, and they're going to buy whatever's on fire and whatever everybody's talking about. And if your token ain't there and purchasable, you're going to miss out on a lot of opportunity.
Big time.
Okay, guys. Benny, you all right? Do you need to bounce now? Are you okay for a while?
I'm good for a little bit, so I'll chill for a little bit. I'll let you guys know when I gotta go.
What do we need to look at here tonight, guys? We're what's the most important thing to start to look at with diamonds and blaze?
What you said? What do you want to look at?
Yeah, is there any particular any way you want to start looking at what's been happening this last week? I suppose a big part is for me. We're talking about this X28. Okay, so you know we've been through many times the reasons why we're paired with X28, why we believe X28 will be a huge part of the Titan X ecosystem. Many people are ignoring it, don't really care about it. But some of the hardcore builders have decided to build on X28. They've decided to have protocols on base already, and some of that stuff we're talking about is us as builders positioning. You're talking about infrastructure, is us positioning for what we think can come in the future. But this getting this to parity, getting this X28 to parity. We did start talking about it. I don't think it's any. We started talking about it long before we released the NFT sales. And the NFT sales was the first thing of the protocol that went live. But when I look at when we launched the NFT sales here around this time in this chart, and we really did start talking about this thing right at the bottom. I don't think there's any coincidence that we've been saying that we're going to get it to parity all this time, and it's just went up and up, closer and closer all this time. And a big part of, you mentioned the sell wall. Maybe Rich, you can get that chart ready or whatever data you have that can show the sell wall that's being worked through. But this a small part of this protocol is the well, not a small part, but part of maybe a quarter of the ETH that we've had come into the protocol so far goes up in this add to LP. We've swapped most of the ETH that has come into the protocol. We have swapped it to Titan X. We have subsequently already swapped the Titan X to X28. So we're sitting with this protocol sitting with 20 grand of its buy and burn in X28 at this minute in time. We're holding 188 billion X28.
That's significant. 100. I mean, the dollar value might not, show it, and it may not seem like a lot, but we've been live for what? We're on day 8, and right there, just in the liquidity build, we have 189 billion X28 that we've bought, and then if you go and look at the buy and burn, this is only one part of it, and if you go and look at the buy and burn, how much do we have? Another 190 billion. Those are separate.
In a fucking week.
Yeah. So it's not like we're not doing our part, right?
Yeah. So
we're doing our part.
Then this one's already sitting at the minute with another 8 grand of Titan X. That's just going to be scooping that X28. So this number, even if the protocol does nothing else, this is going to just continually tick up and increase. And there's still 45 grand sitting over here in ETH. So there's still a fair bit to go through here if we're getting in position at this minute in time. And things are interesting with the protocol, and we'll hope to entice another wave of miners to keep topping all this up.
We certainly will. I mean, that's half a trillion X28 without even touching the 45,000 in ETH. So I think we get to a trillion. At least that's the hope, is to hurry and try to get there before price pumps. That's what I'm working on. I don't want to see the price pump yet.
And my strategy. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rich.
No. I'm good.
And I'm just saying, my strategy has been, because like we're trying this out just like everybody else is trying this out, right? So my strategy is I've just been DCAing miners. I just been starting miners, pretty much every day. Even if I just start one small miner, I'll just start one every day. I started quite a bit early on. I haven't claimed anything, but I'm just starting like miners every single day because I want to have tokens in my hands when people start coming in behind me. It's 100 days to get your full amount of tokens. So when retail comes and people start market buying and all these other things, I want to have my tokens. So I'm accumulating, like you said before, Penny. The name of the game right now for me is just accumulation. It's not so much about price. It's how many tokens that I believe in can I get my hands on.
I think it's cool. Everyone has a different strategy. Like my strategy is not diamond miners yet. My strategy is to get as much Blaze as I can get my hands on, because that's the source that I need. I can always come up with the Ethereum. And since, that's my attack method.
I've been getting Blaze and I've been mining X28. So that's what I've been doing.
Mm-hmm. Well, you're set. Both of these, Blaze is going to have a bright future, and this is a fun protocol. And I mean, teamwork makes dream work here. If we get behind this effort, we get to achieve ETH payouts. We get to help the Titan-X ecosystem by burning Titan-X once we get X28 to parity. I mean, this is a collaboration. This is not a selfish protocol here. It's got use case. If you want to stake, if you want to go in the auctions, either one could be there. And pretty soon you'll have a liquidity to sell into if that's what you desire. So it just takes a little time to get legs built under this.
Yeah, so on the liquidity side, let's have a look at what we can look at. Take a quick look at the chart. The chart's actually, it's crazy. It's showing up 17%. It's showing up 17%. Why is that on a 15-minute chart? What the fuck's wrong with me? Oh, there's a bit of a dip then this morning. That's probably why.
Yeah, so that's important to know. That price is not sustainable. So think about it this way. If Blaze is 17 cents right now, and you need 1-to-1 match with ETH, that's 34 cents. That's fair market value break even for Diamond's price. And we're looking at 762. So that's not sustainable. It will come down. People should not think that you're going to have 2,200% ROI. Money doesn't fall out the sky. It's not magic money. It's you have to be responsible. But
yeah, I mean, it's something. When we launched this here, we haven't come out screaming about the ROI and how get in now. You can get this ROI. We haven't been screaming that kind of stuff from the hilltops. Rich has been very vocal in saying, okay, look, he even said in the spaces, do not market buy. Some people still market buy. There's because there is not a lot of supply on the market, and some people wanted to get in and try and get a share of that $8,500 worth of ETH that was in the auction this week. So people will play. There will be other plays, but just mining and getting into this thing is probably the best bet at this stage, unless you do sort of see some other plays popping up here and there. But like Rich is saying, this you're looking at a 22x. This has got room to come down still before we kind of we almost wanted to find its equilibrium a little bit sooner rather than just having this dangling out as a carrot. It's not really sustainable. So Utah's kind of got the right idea. You can get a position in this protocol for if you think that Titan-X is going to pump our buy and burn is going to grow substantially with that. And that's what we're going. That's the hope, is that we can use that to support the protocol and keep a nice ROI for everybody in the system, rather than having this kind of fucking crazy number that will benefit the few at the beginning kind of thing, because we've seen that before. You have anything to add on that, Rich?
No, you got it.
Okay, cool.
If you happen to, your miners happen to come in, quite a bit of profit early on, well before the 100 days, which there's opportunity for that. You could easily compound.
I've already compound. I started 5 miners. I started 5 miners day one, and I've already been able to claim market sale and go back in with 2 of those already to earn myself more diamonds. So that was the goal for me at that stage. It wasn't to get in and take any profit. I could have sold a couple of the miners and took a little bit of profit, but I was able to re-enter the system. Just to give you a heads up, there was one I was able to go in and claim. I think I had 500, maybe 600 diamonds coming from it, and I was able to, because there wasn't a big drop in the market value on that one, because it wasn't a big market sale. But I was able to compound that one and earn myself an extra 300 diamonds over the course of the 100 days. And I've done that with 2 of them so far. And there's a few other players already that have done that too. So that's kind of, one little thing to keep an eye out is, there is ways to get a little bit of either ROI or extra diamonds in this protocol still at the minute with this, with where this ROI is sitting.
Yeah, and there's not a lot of tokens on the market, so that's why the price is as high as it is, because nobody's really claimed and sold. In so far, from what we're seeing, I mean, we know that a lot of the players in this system are pretty diamond-handed and are looking for the long term. I know I am. I know Ali is. I know Rich is. And so we got to play in our own protocols too, right? Like we don't get allocated any diamonds. We have to go in just like everybody else. And
there was an opportunity for, there was an opportunity in the auction to anybody that, we don't know what people are going to do at all. We've got speculation and looking at things, but there was an opportunity for anybody that had a big stack that wanted to get out of this to throw a lot in, claim and end their miners and get a lot of money back out of that auction. A lot of money to put in for miners out of that auction that ended today. There was an opportunity there. A lot of people, there's a lot of smart people already playing around in this protocol. So that kind of gives me the idea that there is intentions to, hold it, play the long game with this. We've said that a few times on streams already, that this thing, with the way the moving parts are in it, it just needs a little bit of time to start gaining momentum and letting this thing do what it does with all the different moving parts. Everything that we've looked at so far looks like it's doing what we set it out to do. A big thing, if we look into the stats page, we could just touch on a few parts of what's going on in the stats. Do you want to mention anything about I was kind of hoping to look at, I was going to mention some of the Blaze supply stuff, Rich, but is there anything in the diamond supply you want to mention first?
Yeah, I mean, we launched with 1,000 tokens on the market that day on Tuesday. And so what you're looking at here is roughly $2,000 worth of tokens. So 1,000 has come to market from forfeiting. So you got to realize that's 7% of the total value they were expecting, which is substantial. Actually, I have, when you get time or when you get to it, I actually have the Dune charts pulled up on my share. It's a bigger version than you see on the analytics tab there.
Yeah, just for anybody playing around in this thing, this DApp is freaking awesome. Obviously, you've got supply stats in here, price and ratio stats. You can buy diamonds direct in the stats page. You can go to analytics, and even the analytics. Wait to take a second to load up here, because just right in the DApp, you've got so much data. So much data that's taking ages to load up. Man, the internet's been fucking about today, so sorry about that.
we're working on getting that faster. We're going to try to get to where it's caching and
Well, look, I mean, it's loading. You know yourself. Each of these pages you got to click in the June dashboard. You've got to keep. You know, there's a lot of data on one website. You're pulling in fucking a lot of stuff here in different boxes. That's going to take its time to go and find and get what it needs. But yeah, look, I mean, you can come in here in the stats page into analytics and get an idea of all the different June dashboard stats. ETH in, ETH from miners, ETH from total blaze in from miners, 210,000 blaze, very significant. Diamonds exchange rewards, 2.75 ETH. Vault. Okay, so Rich has pulled a lot of stuff together. Cumulative mined over time, future miner unlocks. So this is kicking right out to that 100-day point. The first 100 days ends in the 19th of February. So yeah, there's a shit ton of data just even in there. Do you want me to pull this down, Rich, and you can pull yours up?
that's fine. I mean, you could go to the bottom and then just show people what's there on the site. But I have the extensive version, which is the actual Dune site. It's laid out a little bit better.
Okay, give me a second. I will pull this off. Where'd you go?
Am I still here?
Yep.
I can't see if are you seeing my screen already?
Yep, it's already up.
Okay. Cool. So yeah, this is all the stuff you've already seen here. It's just what we're going to add here is I want to see total diamonds brought to market. That's a stat that hasn't been added yet, but we're going to put it somewhere up here, and it's going to be a box. It's basically going to say what diamonds were on the market from day one with the LP formation, and then how much diamonds came to market from forfeiting. We are tracking the forfeits though, and this was just added recently. You can see yesterday's forfeiting.
That's in the red.
In the red, right?
So
and
you
can see
that was people forfeiting yesterday to through what they had already earned. So 100 days, everybody come into the protocol day one, day two, any time in the first 7 days of mined, they're obviously earning their diamonds over 100 days. So say for Toxic, somebody was in day one, come day 7, they'd earned 7% of the allocated diamonds that they would receive at the end. So that massive red column is the amount of diamonds that people forfeited to early end their miners and throw their diamonds into the weekly auction,
which further forfeited the rest of it. That's the most amazing thing is you forfeit all this red, and then when you get the amount that you got left over, you actually minted the blue, and you take that and you put it into exchange for ETH, and that gets forfeited. So that's 100% forfeit.
It's so good. And then again, like you say, it comes with zero sell pressure on the token. You get your people get a profit out of the auction, and they burn all those tokens, and there's no sell pressure on the market. Insane.
And 80% of the blaze that was used to create that and to mine that is staked. That's never hitting the market.
And that's why the burn stats are 56% right now, because whatever came to market was burned or crushed. And so it's massive. And we didn't use a single dollar from the buying crush to accomplish that. Users did it on their voluntary, and that's amazing. So as we continue to get miner participation, we'll continue to have ETH in the auctions for people to compete for. They'll continue forfeiting, and as we're doing that, we're continuing to pull the blaze off the market. That's when this thing's working like a fine-tuned clock. Anyway, here's the liquidity where we're talking about with X28 and Titan X.
Can you scroll in on that a little bit just so it's easier to see, Rich? It's blurry. All right, good. Thank you.
Yeah, when you hover over it, you can basically get a little bit more data, but you can see in the tick chart the horizontal bar. When it starts on the far left, it just begins. When it gets all the way to the far right, the little white bar going up and down, it means you're about to exit that tick. So yeah, we somebody just added a little bit more liquidity because these were all near the same height until today. Somebody put something, and I don't care. Like I said, that keeps us buying at discount, so I'm not offended by that. But once we get through that, we got this one and this one. This look at that ratio, 0.96. We're almost there, 0.94. I suspect that we'll be there by the weekend. And we will start crushing diamonds right here. I'm sorry. We will start minting X28 right here, somewhere in this zone.
And so when we do that, we'll take our Titan X and instead of swapping it and buying X28 off the market, we'll start transforming. So every time we do that, that's a 50% burn. So we're accomplishing that Titan X burn without using any incoming economic energy from the protocol. So basically, what you used to have to do was allocate 7, 8, whatever percent of the incoming economic energy to burning Titan X, right? We all used to have to do that. Well, now we don't have to do that. Now we can keep 100% of the economic energy coming into diamonds for the protocol, but still burn Titan X by transforming it into X28. So
That's in the smart contract, Utah.
yes, sir. It's on stacks also. And
That's
so
tight.
yeah, so there's creative ways to use this, right? X28 is an omni-chain token, but what we're doing is we're using it creatively so that way we can benefit the ecosystem and benefit our protocols by using it creatively. And so there's a million different ways to use X28, and people are just they need to think outside the box and they need to get creative and think of how we can use this, you know, not counting the omni-chain capabilities. So yeah, it's I love it.
We're gonna add a stat here. We're gonna start tracking the moment we start converting Titan X to X28. We're gonna track that here, and that way we know how much we're burning of Titan X because we won't be able to see that anywhere because the X28 is going to get credit for that burn, but it's going to be caused by us. So we're going to track how much we're converting and take 50% of that and call that Titan X burned.
Yeah, that's big, and something obviously, is really important. We've never seen this ecosystem in a bull run yet. We haven't been in a bull run, and so when all these things actually get going with this actual cycle, man, this stuff's going to be powerful. I'm really excited.
Me too, and I'm so tired of hearing people talk shit on bot protocols and this and that and calling everything a failure and this, that, and the other just because everything's down. It's like, guys, we haven't seen it work. You know, we like, how are you going to call any of this stuff, any altcoin, honestly, any altcoin anywhere? How would you assess that it's a failure when we haven't even had an alt season?
Exactly.
You know, it's the doom and gloom and price down, and everybody's just pissed off and upset and impatient and frustrated. I get it. You know, I'm fucking frustrated too. Shit, I want an altcoin season just as bad as anybody else, but you get one, you know, you can't really assess the performance. And I think all of these protocols will do well.
I just want to say right here, I'm really glad people's adding liquidity for us to buy because we're getting close here. I mean, I plan to add. Not, I shouldn't say I'm sorry about that, but we plan to add X28. Take a lot of this X28 out of this pool and add to the Diamonds protocol. So I'm glad they're putting it in there for us. Honestly, look, $9,000 worth of buy volume, 2,900 of sell volume. We're gonna get there.
Yeah, and then so
It's a good
just to
ratio.
reiterate what you mentioned there, we don't need to get the parity. This thing's going to start once we get to about 98%, it's going to start to use the transform function.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
So we don't even need to get right up to the 1-to-1. We just want to start to get some tight neck burn happening, and we want to get that happening sooner rather than later. So anybody in the tight necks ecosystem that puts any work in against this happening, fuck you.
You know what?
Uh,
When something is destined to happen, you can't stop it. Just that's how I feel. Yeah.
Sorry, Penny, were you going to say something there, were you?
No, I was just gonna say the funniest thing that I've seen, which is some like human behavior, is when people say something is a scam just because the price is down, and that's just the dumbest shit that you can say because it's just it has nothing to do with the project. It has nothing to do with the founders and the builders or the participants. It's because of the market. You know what I mean? And so when the market turns, you're going to see these things be very, very, very powerful. And people are going to be like, oh shit, it wasn't a scam. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, was it us? Was it the builders? It wasn't me selling. I'm buying up. It's all the other paper-handed cheats that have been selling. I'm buying these tokens, my own tokens, right? Because I got no allocation, so I'm buying up all my tokens at the bottoms, because I believe in my protocols, and we're gonna, we're gonna run, and all this stuff's gonna do really well. But it's like they want to blame all the founders for the market conditions and everybody's selling. It's like we're not the ones fucking cheating.
You got that right. But that's a pretty interesting stat there. We've had 56 individual miners, different wallets mine in this protocol so far, and still only 17 holders. I mean, as a protocol, 17 holders is absolutely nothing. But people are coming in to participate, throwing in decent amounts of ETH and Blaze so far. They're not really playing to this thing to try and flip a quick buck. I think that stat shows that in the early stage here. But in the stats page, the supply of Blaze, it's kind of insane to see. Where's if we look quickly at the NFT page, the protocol, so 80% of the Blaze that comes in gets staked in the Blaze protocol as the diamond stake. We've already staked 167,000 Blaze in 8 days. That's already almost 11% of the total staking pool on in Blaze. So the rest of the stakers have 89%, and Diamonds already has almost 11%. Now remember, Blaze, this Blaze technically never hits the market. We've got 2,888 days before any of this Blaze comes back out onto the market. And when you compare that, what we've pulled in, what we've already staked, the protocol has more. It has some to Genesis. We've got 4% Genesis of Blaze, and there's 12% goes to the staking in the protocol. But if we flick back to the stats and look at the Blaze supply, we've staked more than there is in the LP. And there's only, we've pulled in about 200K of Blaze, and there's only another 470K Blaze out there, liquid. So the stats are pretty impressive on what we're doing with the Blaze supply already. And any miners that come in, just continually, any diamond miners that get started, just continually add to this Blaze staked number. And the higher we get this, and also then reflect back, the higher we get this ratio here of the amount of share that Diamonds protocol has, the better the rest of the systems and operation here can perform. So a lot of really nice moving parts here.
Point out the left there. See how this coincides with what I said earlier. See how this the NFTs are only getting access to the 888 and 288 day payout pools. It's excluded from the Diamond Hand Club pool. But if the user themselves buy these NFTs and get 28 of them, they earn eligibility for one ticket. Because that was always in the Blaze code when Blaze started. You might remember the Blaze Wars NFTs. They never released that part of the project. Well, when we designed Diamonds, we figured out that option was still available. And that actually became a central part of this protocol. In fact, that's what allowed us to launch this part early. It's what allowed us to build $80,000 worth of ETH in that pool for the buying crush. 100% of the funds coming from these sales is used to crush or burn diamonds. There's nothing diverted anywhere.
I
There's two payout pools here. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't looked at how much Blaze is starting to build up in these pools for a few days. So in the 88-day pool, we've already got, what have we got? 3 grand of ETH and 2.5 grand of Blaze in the 88-day pool, 2 grand of ETH and 1,700 worth of Blaze in the 288-day. So this is where the rest of the majority of the rest of that Blaze is going and sitting. So yeah, looking good there in the early days.
Yeah, I mean, that's week 1, got 1 ETH in the 88 and day payout pool already.
Yeah, all we need is ETH back up over 5K, like we've been saying for months and months.
This is one of the coolest projects that I've seen that benefits each other with Blaze and Diamonds. This is really cool.
Thanks. Yeah. We're obviously biased, but also passionate about it.
Let's see how the auction is looking today. So yeah, still 41% ROI on the auction today. We've seen this. This is obviously people beforehand where this was closing out every day. People happy to pay maybe even a little bit more than market value to get it through the auction without any slippage. But again, today there was 25% ROI left on the table. I'll hold my hands up and say I took about 20, threw $100 in and was able to get $25 extra worth of ETH that will be end up going back in. That ETH will be going back into miners. But this has been a daily play for a long time. Whenever there's any ROI left on the table, people take a little bit of profit and do what they want with it. For a long time, again, I was hell bent against competing with people for the profit in here. But I know for a fact if I can come in here every day and there is a little bit, if I can take it and put it back into diamonds or use it to build my diamond stack, it's going to, the likelihood is that you could take it by somebody that just takes it and runs away and doesn't give a shit about the protocols. So I do keep an eye on it every day, and there's there's a lot of time there's a chance for some cheap Blaze right here.
I've personally never bought Blaze. Every time I get Blaze, it's because I saw an opportunity in the auction and just took advantage of it.
That's the way to get it. Always check the auction first.
Yeah, see, well, just while we're talking about it, the importance and why I don't mind throwing money in the auction is that this is what just fuels everything. It puts more money through the Blaze protocol. It adds money into the payout pools, which is just continually paying or adding to the payouts in the diamonds protocol as well. And the more these things work together, the more the community and the people who support Blaze and Diamonds come in here, help close this out, put more money through here, put more money through the miners, play the game properly, the more everything in this system does tick along and benefit each other. Because Rich, do you want to touch on the importance of getting as much Blaze supply off the market as possible?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a core belief of mine that if we remove the current circulating supply, which is down to under 600,000 or right at 600,000, once we do that, it becomes The only place you're going to be able to find the Blaze is the daily emissions. And we know that you can see from the Blaze protocol, it's 5,900 roughly tokens. And once you use the actual buy and burn on Blaze that comes in from miners each day, you're now at 4,800 and below. So that's a more manageable number. So once the circulating supply is off the market, I'd say maybe a month more, maybe by Christmas, I think that's gone. I think we have another 1 or 2, 3 more minor waves coming, and that circulating supply is off the market.
Yeah, so like when we look at is we brought in almost 200K. If we had another 2 minor waves like we had in the first week, whether it comes this week, whether it comes next week, whether it comes in 2 weeks' time, there's only about 5,000 blaze hitting the market. With the buy and burns and stuff, there's only about 5,000 blaze hitting the market each day, minus whatever's coming into the miners in the diamonds protocol. But if we have a couple more, we could eat through, say, another 200, 400K of this. It leaves very, very little in the LP or liquid. We have 3, 4, 5 decent minor waves coming in. It just completely wipes this out. And then if people need blaze and they have to go into the auctions for it because there's such little supply, that is when this motherfucking thing starts to really, really kick off.
Yeah, would agree. That's when the fun begins.
Yeah, because you can see where all the funds are going. People putting ETH and Blaze in. The Blaze is going off the market. It's going to benefit everybody in diamonds. Every miner that comes in is putting so much into the buy and burn and the LP ad. It's freaking insane. It's friggin' insane.
Yeah, and the miners themselves will support exits for users, and you could just let the buy and build and the buy and crush build up. If the market's going to support the price, you don't need to use those funds. You wait for a rainy day, you wait for it to come down. We currently have the circuit breaker set at 100% ROI. I mean, when you find people bitching about 100% ROI, things are bad, right? I mean, they're disconnected from reality.
Yep. Okay. All right. We'll start. Anything else you want to dig into, Rich or Utah? Anything else in particular on either protocol?
I'm good. Got nothing.
Nothing. I'm good. Really happy to see everything, the way that it's working. These protocols are working together. Really happy to see X28 getting close to parity and knowing that, we were the reason for it. And get some more builders start using X28, in creative ways, not just omni-chain. And I think if you don't have an omni-chain version of your token, you could wrap it and take it to other chains, which is fine. But if you use the X28 code, you can also burn your token in Go Omni-chain and follow X28 wherever it goes. Dude has already done it. We've already done it. If everybody in Titan X, all the builders did that, then they can burn their supply along with Titan X supply and go omni-chain with everything. And it's like the foundation was laid by Jake. It's right there. He built the infrastructure. Let's use it. So.
Yeah. Like you said earlier, this is infrastructure plays here. And with some time. Oh, by the way, I will mention, I don't know if we caught this, 60% of the ETH that comes in from miners will go in the buy and add liquidity pool. So even though it's not being used at the moment, that's a substantial amount allocated to building liquidity.
This is only firing, what's this, once a day, this one? At the minute?
Yeah, I just turned that back to once a day just this morning.
Okay.
That one we went through because that was from miners. There was 13 ETH came in during this first miner phase, And that's not too high of a lofty goal to repeat several times. I mean, ETH is at 3,000 right now, roughly. 13 people bring in 1 ETH. You've already matched that.
Yeah, and I remember as well, Blaze was harder to get your hands on Blaze too back then. Even when we launched Blaze was up at 34 cents, I think, on the launch day. So it's substantially less cost right now to start miners than it was a week ago. So something to bear in mind.
It's easy to move Blaze right now. It's thin.
Got a lot of thin things ready to pop here. Okay, if you have nothing else to cover, we'll start wrapping up. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right, let's have a quick look.
Thanks, Penny, for coming out. That was we love to hear your take on the markets.
Absolutely, man.
Frequent
you guys
updates.
are building cool stuff, and I'm excited when we're in a position and an environment where all this stuff can really scale. Because these are powerful systems if we can scale with liquidity. That's the really dope thing about what's being built. So kudos to you guys, man, for not leaving and just putting your head down and creating really cool things, because value comes when massive problems are solved. And there's problems that are being solved in this ecosystem. And, it's big stuff.
You bet. I mean, yeah, people complain about the markets and you can't hardly give them crypto right now to imagine them buying. But
we've been saying that for a while.
But they should realize what it costs. I'm sorry, but they should realize what it costs to build a project.
Yeah, what, like 40, 50K? I'm assuming.
At least, yes. You're spot on.
Yeah, and then audits.
Oh, and then audits on top of that too. So you're probably looking at like 70,
and then the real work begins. You got to push it, or you have to market it, right, to prove to people why it's a good deal. It's the real work begins. Yeah, the money's only the easy part, if you call it that.
Yeah. All right. Look, Penny, appreciate you coming on again, man. You're welcome on anytime you've got a free hour or whatever. Even if it's a bit less than that, you're always welcome to come on and give us a little bit of insight as to what's going on outside our ecosystem. So appreciate you coming on. Thanks very much.
Absolutely. I'll keep my ears to the street, keep on crunching the data, and I'll keep you guys updated. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Rich.
Man,
you want to say goodbye?
What a good week. I couldn't be happier where things are. I'm not concerned in the slightest about slowing down of mining. It will come in waves and cycles, and people are still trying to figure out what's going on with this project, and that's all good. We're going to mature. We're going to get more mature in this project over some time, and it's not confined to a launch phase. Blaze has been out 500 days. It's just ticking along. We're using Blaze as supply, so this project will just tick along. Come now or come later, but you're coming eventually.
Yeah, and like I say, I think we're positioning that buy and burn into X28 is looking like a pretty sweet move at this minute in time. So lots of things happening. Well, oh man, I had uploaded so many of the awesome videos to play this week, and I didn't even get to play any of them. Yeah, I have to play this one. Actually, this is fucking stupid.
I got something to say here. So just think about this for a second. Let it resonate. 20% of the token supply was burned in one day. Yeah, you're not sitting there waiting on the buy and burn to take place.
Come in here and play. If you want to enter the auctions, your supply has already been burned this week. The percentages will continually change. ETH pumps, this goes up, but every time somebody starts a miner, more ETH goes into this pool, and after 7 days it's going to reset and start all over again. Oh, fucking hell.
Diamond's protocol just crystallized the hardest on-chain crush-proof vaults, liquid rivers, staked forever. No dust, no drama, pure permanence. Next Tesla rolling off Gigafactory, Texas. With Diamond Hands OS, it's going to be so sick you won't even believe it. With an unbreakable engine, fueled by the blaze grade flame, every mission etched in crystal clarity. We're not building the future. We're making it unbreakable. Diamonds are forever. Whether you like it or not, pimp.
Epic. That's just epic. I forgot to forward that to Elon. Get his he's a very humorous person. I bet he would like it.
Yes, a couple other crackers just pulled off this week. Okay, let's wrap it up, lads. Utah, anything you want to say before we split?
Nope, don't sleep on diamonds. Don't fade us. We're cooking over here. We got some things going. Don't paper hand. Don't paper hand your bags.
Yeah.
Oh, I actually seen something today. Where is that? Select. Do you remember this? I can't believe we had this. This was our outro for a year. Remember this video?
Once upon a time in the bustling world of cryptocurrency, Titan X was born from a vision of a decentralized future where innovation meets sustainability. As the community rallied together, they faced challenges that tested their resolve. Criticism about mining being unprofitable, chitter-chatter of forever downchart, fear, doubt, and uncertainty about the project being dead. Then came the Dragon, the Bull, Helios, and the Vaulted One.
So, because I flicking back through some old videos to get footage for tonight, it's funny listening to that. There's a lot that video was made in the yes, we had that run up on Titan X last October. Those 3 months of run up, but there was a long time before that where sentiment was probably something like it is now, or somewhere like it's been over the last few months. And listening to that, kind of going, right, okay, back then people stepped up to build and add, never give up, and look what happened. And I think we're right back at that point now. People stepping up, building, community members. You even got Penny, Penny's putting himself out there front and center now, coming on streams. There's plenty of other people out there in the community doing the exact same thing, putting the effort in. And we touched on a few things about the infrastructure getting built out here. I'm getting more and more confident in what we've done and where we're at as time goes by here. I don't know whether you guys agree with that.
Yeah, of course.
For sure. I mean, I don't think people realize what we have going on here in Titan X. This is truly something special. The stuff that we're building in Titan X, and I mean all the builders, this is next level stuff. Nobody's doing what we're doing over here. And this is, I mean, the worst of the worst market conditions for altcoins. Here we are, we're still building, we still got a core community. And what's going to happen when the market reverses and Jake comes back and, launches whatever he's been building on, and the community starts, getting excited again, and like, we're geared to rip. We really are.
Yeah, not financial advice. Utah's wrong more than he's right. So,
yeah, I'm perma bull most of the time, but I'm not gonna lie, man. In the last couple months, I've been kicked in the balls. Also, I've been like, damn, another one, damn, another one. But yeah, still here.
Yeah. All right. I hope you guys enjoyed the stream tonight. Yeah, we're streaming again on Thursday. We'll be looking into just chatting about everything that's going on. Titan X, Blaze, Diamonds. Anybody in the community watching tonight wants to pop in, join us for a chat and give some opinions. Maybe you're somebody out there that has your own insights, wants to share some charts, maybe wants to share some data. Feel free to reach out to any of the three of us. We'd be more than happy to have you on and discuss anything that's going on in Titan X, macro, or crypto in general. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in. You've seen all the stuff we talked about. if you're not mining diamonds yet, get some blazing auctions and get yourself a few miners set and be part of this journey that we're on over the next few years, and especially this 5-year cycle when the liquidity hits.
Look, folks, this is huge. We start going to put tariffs, big tariffs on ETH. We're going to make people buy diamonds. Diamonds, the best, the classiest. It's all about the diamonds now, more valuable, more powerful. Everyone sits talking about it. We're making buying and crushing, buying and burning great again, folks. Really great. November 11th is coming. It's a whole new game, folks, a winning game, the biggest. Believe me.
Diamonds will be very scarce in the market. Blaze is already pretty scarce on the market. So we're hoping for fireworks between the two.